Say, don't worry, you can't go wrong. It's only paint, it's only paper. You can do it. A painting is in that empty square. It's like a dog with a bone. You just go in there and it'll come out. You just keep digging. Too many people try to do a perfect painting the first time. I've got some wonderful students on this Thursday class, and they're learning that you don't get the painting perfect the first time. You have to come back and come back, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, it worked. You build up patience. Now, the child, I was born up in Pickle Draw, which is very far north. And when I was about 4, we moved down to Port Credit, which was a little fishing village at that time. And I still remember there were fishing fleets in those days. And I still remember Mother taking me down to watch the boats come in onto Lake Ontario. Yeah, I can still paint them. I mean, I've been very lucky. I have a photographic memory. And I can still draw the way the sticks came out of the nets would be draped on the side of the boats. Just lovely. I went to school in Port Credit all the way through high school, and then I went to Ontario College of Art, and I graduated in '60. Fine arts, drawing and painting. I got a Royal Art Scholarship, and I went to England and then to Spain, and I lived in Spain for about a year and a half. I met my husband there. Then he moved to Germany. Then from Germany, 2 years in Germany, then back to Spain, and then we drove across North Africa. We took about 6 months to do that. And then we lived in Beirut for 3 years. And after that, we packed up and back into the camping bus, and we wended our way overland to Singapore. We lived there for 6 months, then in Bangkok for 2.5 years, and then in Hong Kong for 3 years. Eric Freefield, John MacDonald, Adrian Dingle, Claire Weiss. I was very lucky to have had Cassim as a teacher when I was very young, and there were some others that you probably wouldn't know of, but I mean, some of them are Winchell Price, who were just the most wonderful guys. And although I'm not a sky painter, he taught me an appreciation of them. This was all when I was, 6 or 7. Alison, Carl Schaefer, they were all very close friends of mine. I just worshipped them. I started at Doom School when I was 11. They weren't supposed to take kids, but Adrian Dingle said he said, you got to take her, so I was really lucky. And that was when Winters and everybody, Barley, were teaching there, so I had some lessons with Barley, I had some lessons with Cass. And that was wonderful. One of my main mentors was Herb Arras. He lives in London, and I think he's one of the greatest living Canadian painters, and nobody seems to, he's never, that name doesn't appear on the radar where it ought to. I indulge in an awful lot of approaches towards the subject. I would prefer to take a more serious approach, but then of course you can't, nobody wants to see paintings that are too serious. They want things that are more decorative. So I try to balance between what I want to paint and I don't know, it's very difficult. I mean, I love drawing. The thing I love most of all is black and white. I went to New York State and I took a course in encaustics, which I love. I do watercolors, I do oils, pastels. I started oils and painted in oils exclusively until 1999, and actually until 2000. Oh, where I work is a simply wonderful fishing lodge. I'm simply so lucky to work up there. It's run by a guy who's just the greatest boss. And he's actually provided me with a studio attached to my little cabin. I cook. And through a series of interesting events, I got the job. And I simply love it. It's just wonderful. The air's fresh. The guests are marvelous. It's a very enjoyable place to work. The first year I was there, they were out most nights. The next year, it was every ruddy night from May till September, every night all over the place. I'd get up at 2 in the morning, And they're always different. I remember one where I thought, oh, they're not out tonight, and all of a sudden this circle appeared and it opened into almost like the halo around a sunspot, like that. And it was like that, and then even more things. Sometimes the nights are full of multicolored lights. Sometimes they're just greenish. They've never been as good as they were that second year. I've been there every year for 8 years. And every year I find new things, I find wonderful things. This year, due to the weather being, climate change, the weather's very strange, so we walked in, which was a pretty exotic experience. That painting is what we were walking through, that swamp. And you're walking along, and suddenly you see a fresh wolf print, the size of a ruddy cabbage. And you know it's fresh because the water is still seeping in. You don't see them, you don't hear them, but there they are. And then when you get there, like very early May, 1st or 2nd or 5th of May, if you're lucky, the loons start to come out, and down the lake you can hear the wolves, and the northern lights are out, and the air is clean. And you see the stars from there to there. It's like living in a planetarium. I was talking with some friends, and some of us say we're crazy, but we paint because we have to paint. I have no idea. We just, and God knows you don't do it because you ever expect to make a living at it. I mean, you hope to, but you paint it out of absolute love and a desire to say to someone, look how wonderful this is. This is a marvelous thing. And sometimes this is a terrifying thing. This is a beautiful thing. This is a thing that, it's like being a finger post, that says, pay attention. This is something you should notice. Being a woman. When I got that big major scholarship I told you about, I was, bless the caretaker's heart at OCA, as it was then, now it's okay. And he used to let me stay late to paint because I'd work furiously. I mean, I just loved it. And he'd let me know when the management was coming through, or anybody who wouldn't let me be there. And so I'd nip into there was a big closet where they kept all, props for still lifes and stuff, so I'd nip in there. So I'm nipping in there. What was happening was Mounfield and Dorothy Stevens and Doc MacDonald and a whole bunch of people were coming through. And there was a big painting I was working on. That painting later went to the National Gallery and Hart House. And it was in Hart House for quite some years. Anyhow, I thought, oh my God, Carl Schaefer, the whole shebang, management was there at the closet. And one of them, I don't know who it was, it might have been Sidney Watson, who was the president of OCA, said, now, that's a very good painting. What's the name of the chap that did that? And Jock said, well, actually, that's one of my best painters. She's a woman. And there was this awful pause. Oh, that's pretty nice for a woman. I mean, that's still carries on. Women paint butterflies and Muskoka chairs in the sunset and lace bonnets. And of course, women go crazy once a month, so they shouldn't be taken seriously anyhow. And men are, I have thought occasionally of just exhibiting as MacDonald Roberts and they don't know who I am. Maybe I'd be taken more seriously. I do have a few fairly political paintings that one was shown at the KW Art Gallery, and there were women standing in front of it crying. I mean, it's a very powerful painting, but there's never been anywhere else I've been able to show it. When I have an aha moment and I tackle something I think I can't do, and it works. It works. I thought, well, I can't do that, but yes, I can. And I look at it and I think, I mean, you do it for yourself, which is it's a very selfish art, I guess, in a way. The other thing that I'm having a wonderful time with is when I'm teaching. And you can just see, you can say, that student has some talent, if I can help them, I know some people say, oh, you should give away all your secrets, but I figure I've been so lucky. I've learned from so many fine art, really good people. And I can teach practically any approach. I can teach in any medium. I teach in acrylic because you can't go wrong with it. People will always say, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" I say, "Why not? It doesn't say here, it doesn't say there. Go for it." And it always works out. You just have to keep trying, keep pushing, try new things. But when I hit a painting with an aha moment, it's a good feeling. And when I find a student that I say, "Oh, it really helps them," that makes me feel good too.